Okay, what's up guys? So version 4, I'm finally going to officially release a video. I'm going to talk about all the changes and everything that's involved with version 4. Alright, so before I get started, I just want to remind you that there's a Discord server that I've now opened. If you need help or you have some suggestions, whatnot, there's a few people in there already talking about stuff, making some changes and suggestions to others to help you get it working as best as you possibly can. All right, the biggest change that's happened with version 4 is that these are no longer a primer-only device. So now I've implemented snap designs that use the little impact fireworks, as well as 8 caps, which I don't at the moment have in front of me because I'm out of them, but your standard 8-shot caps will work in certain designs. All right, so looking at the new bodies for version 4, they've all changed for the primers, then also introducing the new ones for the snaps and the 8-shot caps. The biggest issue that version 3 had previously with the primer version specifically is the main screw not striking on the center of the primer, which would, if it struck on the side, it wouldn't go off. I did a couple things to kind of correct this. So now with the new version 4 design, there's a implemented guide inside of the primer bodies. You can kind of see how it narrows down there. So that when the main screw does go down, it's guided into the center. So it frees up the fuse design. So the fuse has gotten a lot smaller. So of the bodies, they've basically gotten 100% reliable because now they're hitting center every single time. Looking at the snap design, this isn't super simple. So it's going to be a 2-piece design for both a round one and the straight one. So there's just a bottom piece that screws onto the top piece, and then your snap will just slide inside of the hole right here, just like that. Okay, you can put 2 of them in there at max, and then or you can just use 1. It's up to you on how many you want to put in there. The cool thing about the 2-piece design is that you can print like the bottom and TPU if you wanted to. That way it absorbs the impact a lot better, break as much on the hard floor. But you could probably get away with printing the entire thing out of TPU. Just note that it'll impact your sensitivity because it's absorbing the impact instead of transferring it to the fuse. One of the best things that's gonna come with the version 4 is the time design. I spent a lot of time refining it since I released it for the version 3. And at the moment, this latest design, extremely reliable to the point that I almost never use the impacts anymore since this version works so well. As soon as you press that, flip that switch, it goes off after a certain amount of time. I have really spent a lot of time making sure that all the little issues and this and that goes away. So this latest design uses a custom circuit board that gets rid of any of the wires, crimping, hot glue. I've spent a lot of time on the cam design and different things like that. This just charges from a regular 2S LiPo charger. You can literally just plug it into any charger and it'll charge up just like a 2S LiPo. Super simple, okay? The 2S LiPo is very strong, a lot stronger than the previous 1S LiPo or even the button battery design. It's rechargeable, super easy to use. I know a lot of people will get turned off by the fact that it's electronic. Yes, you do need to be able to solder. It's so simple to solder though. It's basic through hole components, super simple stuff, okay? It's not very difficult at all to do this. It's a bit more expensive than the impact design, but in my opinion, it's well worth it. And using this over the impact, your experience will be so much better. So I would highly recommend that you look into this now. I know I'm gonna get a few comments of why don't you do a mechanical design or whatever, etc. Put it simple, and I explained this in my previous video on when I released the first iteration of this time design. There's a lot of issues that come with going with a mechanical design, okay? It's not really easy to do a mechanical design. Especially when you're talking about putting it in such a small, compact design. You have limitations of 3D printing. So it's not like you can 3D print really small gears, okay? So there's just gonna be issues. There's a lot of variables that go into it, a lot of components that gonna make it unreliable. But realistically, like I said, the biggest thing is the size, right? By the time that you get a mechanical design, it's going to be the same size as this. So, and probably a lot less reliable because now there's like 30 moving parts and a spring that you got to like rewind all like constantly or something like that. Recommend watching the short or that YouTube video I posted on seeing how they work. It'll kind of give you a really good idea on how loud they are or what they look like, etc. So talking about the fuse itself, the size has stayed the same, but a lot of the dimensions and other stuff are a lot different. The biggest change is going from this longer M5 bolt to a shorter M5 bolt, as well as going from a fully threaded bolt to a half threaded bolt. The benefit of this is that the half threads right here, the smooth part, rides smoothly on the inside of the fuse, which means that you don't have as much friction when you're running across this, like the threads on the bolt. So that's a lot smoother action now. Very smooth. The entire spoon geometry has changed from what's available at the moment or whatever you were looking at before. Completely redid the spoon geometry. The pin will still sit nice and tight here without the little bridge thing that I had before on the TPU design. The design is the same here for both the TPU and the PLA. So you can, there's one file for both PLA and TPU. Again, I would still recommend that you print the spoon out of TPU. It's also pretty good to where you can't get it to go off now, not unless you like physically broke it. The function was this came up here and latched up here. That is not how it works anymore, and that's not how it has worked for a while. Comes up and this comes down, and the spoon is what holds the screw from falling, okay? So as soon as the spoon moves, the screw falls, okay? It's very important that you understand that, and it is not the same as V3 at all, okay? There's certain adjustments that you can do, and there's certain geometry that I've added to this spoon to get it to be brutally sensitive, okay? In the assembly video, I kind of go over how to throw it and how to adjust it and whatnot if you need help with that. All right, so talking about the durability, I've not had one ever break on me from the primer, the 8 cap, or the snap, anything like that. These have lasted like way over 30 primers going off, like over 30 times without like any visible fatigue or anything like that. The biggest weakness for this is going to be pavement. Plastic on rough pavement is not a good time. They chip. So typically what happens is it doesn't split or anything like that. It starts chipping. It'll take a chunk out of the side or something like that if you throw it on pavement. The fuse is typically right up here, is typically where it goes. And it's super easy to just print another fuse. So pavement is really its worst enemy. If you're throwing it lightly on concrete, if you're throwing it in rocks, grass, dirt, they'll last basically forever. As far as materials go, because I know something that a lot of people are curious about, same as myself, what materials work best for this. Like I've always said, PLA plus for the bodies and a 95A TPU for the spoons, okay? I would not advise that you go out of your way to find a material other than that. This is the cheapest and works the best in my experience. I've tried a lot of other different filaments. The only suitable replacement is for the PLA, and that'll be any of the a nylon. Like this body right here. These two are printed out of nylon, Overture Easy Nylon, or like a nylon composite, so glass fiber, carbon fiber, whatever. Those will work really well. Will they work better than PLA Plus? I don't really think that there's a performance difference between the two of them. They're both gonna chip or whatever when you throw them on concrete. It doesn't matter what type of plastic you have. The only other plastic that would resist that is TPU, but printing the whole thing out of TPU causes issues. So again, TPU for the spoons and PLA Plus for the body. If you have the ability to print them out of nylon, I would suggest that. That concludes this video. Again, download the files for the latest stuff. You'll see it there. I've updated the instructions, updated the bill of materials. I've updated the assembly videos. All of that's been updated. The Discord is there if you need it. I still suggest that you join it just because I post stuff for testing every once in a while if you want to try that out. So yeah, thanks for watching.